Hi, my name is Marianne Vannatta. I'm a high school teacher at West Potomac High School in Fairfax County, where I teach history to students who are learning English. So I've been asked to talk a little bit about my views of hope in this time of COVID. But in order to do that, I have to explain that I kind of have three lenses through which I look at life. I look at it through the spiritual lens, through a historical lens, and then through my personal individual lens. So before I start talking about that, I want to talk a little bit about what Pastor Grace said in a sermon a couple of weeks ago. She said that our hope for the future should influence how we live our lives today. So I wanted to take that and explore that in each of these levels or viewpoints that I have. So in the spiritual realm, my hope obviously is in Jesus Christ. And his death on the cross to forgive me my sins so that I can have a relationship with God through him, both in this lifetime and then through eternity. So my response to that hope is incredible gratitude. So how do I want to live into that gratitude? How do I want to let that hope influence my life? Well, in this time of COVID, I've been one of those that have been incredibly fortunate. I have not lost my job. I'm still getting paid regularly, and I have the opportunity and the resources to help others who have become economically disadvantaged through this time. So I've tried to do that when and where I feel that God is leading me. The second level or viewpoint is the historical viewpoint. And I'm not just talking about 10, 15 years of history. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of years of mankind. And when you look at history like that, when you look at it in the long term, you realize everything changes, nothing stays the same. And so with respect to this COVID situation, my hope is that it will end. In fact, my understanding from history is that it will end. I don't know when, but I have hope that it will end. So how does that hope influence me today? Well, in my classes, I teach world history and USVA history. And in world history, we're about to enter the Middle Ages, and in USVA history, we're about to start talking about World War I. In both of those time periods, there is an epidemic, and you've got the plague in the Middle Ages, and you have the Spanish flu in World War I. And so my hope is to have the students compare and contrast COVID-19 with each of those plagues to help them understand and see the bigger picture and recognize that this situation too will end as those others did as well. So from a personal perspective, of course, the other levels influence my view of the world in that way. But when I was at school and we were told that we were not coming back to the brick and mortar school and that we'd be teaching online, I really had to rethink how I was going to teach and what I was going to do and the resources I was going to use, because it just couldn't look the same as being in the brick and mortar school. So my hope is that we will eventually be back in the brick and mortar school. But right now, we have to learn to figure out how to teach in this new environment. So the way I've let this hope of returning to the brick and mortar school influence me today is I'm really embracing and enjoying learning all these new technologies. In the past, I wanted to learn them, but it was daunting, and I had so many other things to do. I had to deal with classroom management and curriculum, and I just didn't feel like I had the time to put into learning these new applications. And now I've got nothing but time to learn, and they're really needed in this situation. So my hope is that eventually when we go back into the brick and mortar school, I'll be able to use these new applications and technologies that I've learned in school when we get back. So those are my views on COVID and hope during this time.